Spies? Human! What? No, we're no friends of Mordor, if that's what you're thinking.
There is actually footage that we shot that has a young Aragorn and Arwen frolicking together in the woods, but no one's ever seen it, and I don't think it's going to make it into any movie, any DVD. Viggo shaved his stubble off, and he's clean-shaven, and he's supposed to be young, and the two of them are bounding around the trees together.
Well, actually, it's shooting the moment he first saw her.
Yeah, maybe in the 50th anniversary box set, we can put it in somewhere.
Wouldn't it be fun to do an edit of all three films in chronological order? You'll put that scene right after the council meeting.
Well, you could, that's right.
The alliance between men and elves is over. We must stand alone in the war that is to come.
The centerpiece action of
Lord, and bring me report every hour.
Saruman corrupts Wormtongue. He teaches Wormtongue to sap the king's energy.
one of our very early drafts had a Lothlorien sequence, didn't it, where Arwen and Elrond both went to Galadriel to get some advice. And I remember we filmed some shots of Cate Blanchett for that scene, and we ended up using them in the scene that comes up next, which was the sort of the montage sequence.
That was about as much about establishing that the elves held them coming from Lothlorien, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
They were also talking about that.
Yeah.
At one stage, Elrond was actually going to visit Lothlorien and talk directly to Galadriel.
If we do not trust the strength of men, then we trust to the victory of Sauron.
There was a scene originally from Two Towers, which was the discussion of what the elves' responsibility was, where their responsibility lay to men and to Middle-earth. And we shot this little council scene with Hugo, Cate Blanchett, Marton, and I think myself.
Aaron would bring you into these lands.
Set out from Rivendell with 7 companions.
And you were not alone.
The interrogation scene was something that used to be quite violent. It even got worse than that, because remember they used to tread on Gollum's fingers at one stage, which is why he sometimes has sore fingers later on towards the end of the film. There was a moment here that we shot where Faramir looks at Frodo, and for a split second he has an image of Frodo as Gollum. It was a concept that we had that we ultimately decided not to use.
We were going to have this moment where Faramir gets a glimpse of what Frodo would become.
It was Gino Acevedo that applied the makeup. It was cool because I didn't actually have any major makeup for the movie except for the wig and the ears, so it was great fun to sort of physically transform for that moment.
It was an interesting point in the journey because it was a moment that placed a seed of doubt in Faramir's mind as to whether to take this ring or not.
That ended up not making the cut, but it was quite a cool little moment.
The sequence is the same as the theatrical cut. We actually had a little bit more was shot originally where Aragorn's kind of unconscious on the back of the horse and they go past an orc encampment. We didn't use that in either in the theatrical or in the extended cut.
We had a lot of material for the scene.
Set. And action! Elvish White be damned! Hey! Now there's a man! As the stink from you other miserable, cow-cranking buggers!
In the reworking of the Arwen storyline. She was at one point at Helm's Deep. Aragorn, of course, had a reunion scene with her.
Originally, this was conceived with Arwen was actually more of a warrior. She was actually at Helm's Deep. She's tending to the wounded.
We did this in many different ways. At one stage, Liv was at Helm's Deep, and I ran up to Vigo or Aragorn and gave him a huge hug and welcomed him back. But that all changed.
10,000 strong.
In the original shooting of this scene, there was actually mention made of Arwen and that she was waiting for Aragorn. When Arwen was removed from the Helm's Deep storyline, we were able to just remove the mentions of her from that scene.
There was originally a lot more in here. There was some fighting done in here as well, but that ended up going. It's a shame in some ways because it was sort of the only fighting that Eowyn would have got to do in a dress and stuff, which was quite a good image.
These are my people.
The armory scene was originally a bit longer because Theoden came in and addressed the troops, but in a sense Bernard's performance was so strong and so compelling that it actually in a funny way diffused the tension. We had Theoden give quite a stirring, rallying speech to the soldiers, but in a funny kind of a way it was almost so effective that it almost made you believe that they were okay. And so for that reason we decided it undermined what we were attempting to do, which was to build up this sense of dread before the battle.
Where is the horse and the rider? I have passed like rain on the mountains behind the hills.
These Uruk-hai crowd shots were actually done originally as a test shot for one of our very early teaser trailers before the Fellowship of the Ring came out. And we got it off the files and dusted it off and put it into the movie.